This video is to help you with planning standards for your standards-based lesson plan. And like every teacher, you will stand in your new classroom and you're going to ask yourself, what am I going to do? So this assignment helps you decide how you're going to figure out what to teach and what kind of curriculum that you're going to use. So the first step is to find types of curriculums you might find at the school that you want to work at. We're used to formal curriculum because it represents the formal schooling and subjects that we usually come across. But we also have some kind of curriculums called hidden curriculum or informal curriculum that also determines what students learn. So you want to read the text to find out what is curriculum. Look at some of these text resources which talks about what is a value-free curriculum, how teachers shape curriculum. Then take a look at types of curriculum. National standards, which is what the state of Hawaii has adopted. State standards, which Hawaii will hopefully fuse in with the national standards. Some of the plans for the futures. For example, what's going on now is state standards becoming national standards. And then some of the other curriculums we talked about, informal, null, physical space. All of these represent what students learn in your classroom. After you describe what kind of curriculums in your school, describe how it's changed over the years. Compare it to how it was taught then versus now. So what are some of the historical roots? So take a moment to look at some of those things that were taught back way back when, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, and what some of these roots are. So you need to focus on somebody named John Dewey, very famous educational philosopher. Same with, or should we say pragmaticist, because he was actually using practical ideas in the classroom based on his philosophy. Looking at progressivism versus social efficiency or efficiency, psychological forces behind some of the ideas in today's school, behaviorism, constructivism, and so on. Some of the big pivotal moments in curriculum history, it takes place through some of these important changes. For example, Nation at Risk. You ever wonder why we have so much standards-based learning? That book that was put out at Nation at Risk is one of the beginning roots of that idea. And then, of course, we're in the standards movement, and No Child Left Behind. Once you've decided your curriculum and and got a chance for its historical aspect, you want to go ahead and plan out your own curriculum. And remember, we use something called the 40-40-40 rule, in which we've talked about there's no way you can cover everything in your semester of all the standards you're supposed to cover. So the 40-40-40 rule allows you to pick what do you think is so important you'll be teaching it later on. And out of that, you will be able to pick the benchmarks and standards that you think are most important for your students to learn. So to start doing that, I want you to choose a grade level and one subject that you're going to teach at your school. So if you're going to teach at Mililani School, what grade and what subject. We only choose one benchmark because it would be too much if we try to cover everything. Decide the benchmarks you want to cover that first semester. So you'll be expected to put out a plan for the entire semester, which is called long-range planning for that grade level and that one subject. So take a look at some of these resources, how teachers plan. And you can copy and paste directly from the Hawaii Content and Performance site, Hiccups 3, so that it won't be typing. You won't have to type anything. And then figure out when these benchmarks will be taught during the first semester using the current DOE calendar. And take a look at what long-range planning and back planning, because that will help you figure out how to do it. Out of all the benchmarks that you're going to teach that first semester, choose the one you think is most important. If you had to do one benchmark for the entire semester, which would it be? And then I want you to complete parts A and B in a standards-based lesson plan. Use this template here. And then you'll be done with this assignment. And go ahead and click here to see a student example of it, to see what benchmark was chosen. and then save this in a safe place, and don't submit this assignment until the entire lesson is completed after you've done the assessment instruction and diversity, and then you'll load the whole thing up. So go ahead and move on to the next section.